Final hour overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. And, of course, the lines supplied by our friends at FanDuel as well. Bryan Hayes, Kara Wagland, Frankie Corrado, and my Partsy, Al's brother in studio.
What a win last night, Partsy.
What a pick.
What a gutsy call.
What a great call.
Gutsy call. It was a coin flip, and we went the right way.
Tremendous.
Imagine we went the other way. I texted you that at like 28-0, and I'm like, could you imagine if we actually? Like, it was we were on a coin flip almost, and we were like, you know what? Let's go with the home team. Let's just take the Raiders. Who knows what we're gonna get out of Easton Stick? Evidently, nothing is what we got out of that guy. And
although he wasn't awful,
out of the whole team.
I think what we were driving home to was that team was going to quit on Staley,
and they definitely
quit on
did.
Staley. Like, that's really disturbing. To watch a professional football team play like that last night.
Never seen anything like it.
It was like a team taking it in their own hands, being like, yeah, we're done.
We don't like
legitimately.
This guy.
It was terrible. I mean, I know that earlier this year we saw a team get 70 put on them, but that 63 looked a hell of a lot worse than the 70 that the Broncos led against Miami. Way worse.
You're right, and that's Tua and Waddle and Hill
the good
and
offense.
McDaniel. Exactly. Like last night's Aiden O'Connell. Like, come on, man. You get torched for 63. And they were fumbling everything.
The Raiders' defense looked like the 49ers out there.
Yeah.
Like,
Legitimately.
The Raiders' D is actually not that bad.
See that fumble?
No, they have some good pieces. They have some good pieces.
Big boy fumble 6. You'll love to see that.
I'd love to see that. Mark Davis was having himself a great time. Yeah, everything's coming up Vegas. Everything's coming up Hayes and Bro.
It's 5 in a row.
It is 5 in a row. We don't want to say anything. Kara, I'm sure you've been watching, and I'm
With
sure
bated
you're.
breath.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it, to be in the company of Hayes and Bro?
I'm a little nervous, actually, just sitting amongst the greatness in here.
Yeah. Oh, we're picking winners. I'm sensing sarcasm,
They're like
but
7 behind.
yeah, that's fine, Frankie. That's fine. I told you, man.
I was late last break. I got to curry some favor back.
Yeah, there's an immaculate week coming up.
That's right. And we're not pulling a Maple Leafs here. We're not just going to tie it and then throw it away.
Right.
We're going to finish it off just like the Patriots did. It was 28-3. It's now 28-18.
That's right. It's
We're
28-18.
inching so close.
Who are you guys? Like, if you
Brady
were an
and Belichick.
NHL team, who are you?
An NHL team?
Yeah, like who can you compare yourselves to? As far as
The
your
Oilers?
operation, is it a Boston Bruins well-oiled machine? Or are you
Trying
guys
to think of a team that blends, the Vegas Golden Knights do a pretty good job in blending, analytics and eye test together.
Very true.
And that's a juggernaut of an organization.
Yeah, they are the crown jewel right now, which is how I would define us.
So are you Bill Foley?
Yeah, I got a helicopter, and I'm obnoxious. Yeah, I can be Bill Foley. I've always been a fan of Bill Foley. I've always loved Bill Foley. I'll give you an example of a specific team in a specific year. We're the 2018-2019 St. Louis Blues. That's what we are.
Yes.
And Al's brother is Jordan Binnington. I'm Craig Berube, and just everything is connecting. And we're moving in a direction towards championship.
I love it.
Right? That's what we are. And this is, I just got word, Doogie just said Luke needs a minute. He is scrambling.
He's sweating.
He's
he doesn't
sweating
know who to take.
and scrambling because he's going to puke away picks. So we'll catch up with Luke here in just a moment. But hey, you mentioned not closing with the Leafs. We were talking about that yesterday, and for me, I mean, we all had a different opinion on it. I just walked away saying it's a game in December that turned out to be a positive because they got a point. Like I think when you look at the way the regular season works, the ups and downs. Slow starts can happen. Trap games. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah,
we both
called
said
it. Yeah.
It's exactly that as a trap game, and it would have been much better and more historic if they actually won in overtime. And they had chances. Like Willie had a great chance. Matthews
Austin,
had multiple chances. They had a great opportunity.
Santsov actually made a save or two before allowing the goal.
Right.
There's
But
opportunities.
I think in the end, you get a point if you're the Leafs. You turn the page. You got Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Yep.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And they owe Pittsburgh one because they went in there a couple weeks ago and lost 3-2.
Yeah, Dubas in town.
Yeah.
And, there's narrative behind
It's
it.
a fun one tomorrow.
It's going to be a fun one. Sid takes these games very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime it's a big Canadian market,
Hockey
whether it's
night
like hockey night and it's Toronto or he's going up against McDavid, there's a little fire there. Like, he knows all eyes are on him with these games.
How many more do we have? Sit on a Saturday night in Toronto.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
we got to
many.
be honest. Like, I think he's going to play another 4 or 5 years. I think we have 4 or 5 more, but we don't have 10.
No.
Like, we don't have 15.
And
We
he's
only
still
have so
playing
many.
great. Like, that team's not very good, but it's not because of him, man.
No.
He's playing outstanding.
He's second in the NHL in points at 5-on-5.
Right.
If that power play, which is actually going now, they got 4 in the last 2 games. They get going. He starts putting up points there. Man,
Look out.
You got information for everything.
Dude, do you want to see how many words I have in this document
I
here?
actually was
my
taking a
gosh.
look at this
Look at
when
that.
you sat
look at
down.
that number right there. Look at that number.
Dude, he's
Frankie.
got, I'm
Can
not
I-
even joking, he's got almost 1,000 words written.
Can I
love
just
it.
ask you a quick question
I
before
love
we
it.
jump in? Because I
Yeah.
know Luke's waiting. Do you believe at all in intangibles when it comes to like picking
Yes,
matchups?
absolutely.
Because you seem to be like very like all stats, all.
Well, that's what I have to bring to the table, but then
Okay.
we marry it with my intangibles guy. That's
right, TG.
And that's right? Like, that's
Hashtag
what we got.
TG.
Bill Foley over here, and he makes the final decisions.
All right.
That's right, House brother. And last night was a tremendous pick. It was tremendous information, tremendous gut instinct, and
See, that was a gut pick.
that was a
one
gut
was
pick.
intangibles.
That was exactly that.
That was the guy who doesn't have intangibles, Brandon Staley.
Yes.
And that's ultimately why they lost, because
Like-
he couldn't get that team ready to go.
That's right. We could not have nailed that any better. Our analysis last night was actually pristine. We said Antonio Pierce will get this team jacked. They're going to quit on Brandon Staley. Short week, home team. Everything came through. We've picked 3 in a row of our own picks. Timo and Willson have puked away their last 2 picks. That's a 5-pack of wins. We're down to -7. We began an immaculate week last night. Luke has been scrambling. Doogie called him like 5 minutes ago, and he didn't even answer. He's scrambling right now.
We should have came in with Major League. It's 5 in a row.
That's right. It should be the Major League theme song. We got to bring that up, JP. That's a good point, House brother. All right, let's bring in Luke Willson, our TSN NFL analyst, and one half of a team that is sweating right now. That would be Timo and Willson. Go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
Kara, I just want to apologize that you have to listen to this idiocy. You don't deserve it, Kara, and on behalf of everyone who's listening, I'm sorry that you have to sit there and listen to Beavis and Butthead talk about how great the Raiders pick was.
It was
ridiculous.
That's 60. They hung 63 on the Chargers, man. That's as big of a pendulum swing as I've ever seen. They got
That's
skunked
really
a week
tough.
ago.
That's a tough pick, boys.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Well, listen, our pick got a guy fired. That's how electric our picks are right now. And how do you even explain it before we get to the picks here? Like, if you're on that plane and flying back to LA as a Charger player, like, how are you even looking anyone in the eye playing that way in the NFL?
That is a great question, Hayes. And what I thought about last night when I was watching the game is even if you're getting blown out, you got to think that for the vast majority of guys on that Chargers team, they don't have guaranteed contracts. Their future's not guaranteed. Like, there comes a point in this league where it's like, hey, we're getting blown out, but I'm going to put some good stuff on film because I'm either entering free agency, I want to show that I can do a bigger role next year. Like, when you're on a losing team that's not going to make the playoffs, there's opportunities to sing for your supper, so to speak. So to get to a point where as an entire team, you just basically say, we don't want to be here anymore, and just watch a very mediocre at best Raiders team smack you was pretty I was disgusted. I was at a loss for words. Again, if it was the Niners and it was like, man, we don't have enough answers for this offense, or something like, it was Cleveland's defense and Myles Garrett's going crazy. It's like, okay, we got. We just lost to the Raiders, who have fired their coach middle of the season by that margin. It was one of the most disgusting performances I've ever seen.
Yeah. How else do you explain it?
I mean, I don't know that you can explain it. That was an anomaly last night. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I mean, the Chargers had some injuries, and you know that they're pretty much done with Staley, so I'm not surprised they lost. But for the Raiders to hang 63, I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Crazy. Like, you always hear pro athletes say, no, we never play to get our coach fired. Like, last night was the counter argument to that.
It felt like
it.
it.
Like last night, it was almost like the Chargers hit the field. They're like, this is the last time we're going to see this guy. Like, we are playing this guy out of town. And, like, Staley, I think it was so ugly. I don't see him get another head coaching gig. Like, I know he's a young guy, but it was so ugly in L.A., and last night was so ugly. Like, he's a coordinator for a long time. long time. And I don't know.
Do you subscribe to all the critics out there saying that the Raiders should have eased off?
No.
At some point?
I don't. It's the NFL.
Right.
Like,
I
I
agree.
mean, Luke, like, if you are up big, you keep your foot on the pedal. And I think Antonio Pierce spoke on it yesterday, and he's like, we put up 0 points last week. I'm not going to tell these guys to stop scoring. So,
where do you stand on it, Luke?
I agree. I agree with that. Where I thought it got a little strange, even from his standpoint, is, and I don't know the exact score at the time. I want to say they were up 50, maybe it was 40. But, like, you're throwing wide receiver reverse passes to Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
they're just playing with their
It's like,
food.
even if
Yes.
you're up that much and you have that in the arsenal, like, why blow that there? And what I mean by that is, like, if you like that play, and granted, it's situational, but, like, use that when you're like, man, we're playing a great team. We're in a game we shouldn't be in right now. We're down 4 in the fourth quarter. I've got nothing to lose. Let's dial it up. Why would you dial up the reverse wide receiver pass when you're up 45? That was a bit, like, strange. And the next thing I'll say is I agree with Antonio Pierce where it's like, hey, we got to keep our foot on the gas, etc. But as much as we all like to dog Brandon Staley, the reason he's gotten a head coaching job at this age is because he's climbed the ranks pretty quickly, and a lot of the other coaches really respect what he's been able to do up until this point. So don't think for 1 minute that any of Brandon Staley's camp hasn't seen this and be like, okay, Antonio Pierce, you want to sit here against my buddy and run wide receiver reverse passes when you're up 45? I'll bank that. I will bank that, and if we ever get a shot to embarrass you, we will put the target on your back. So, again, I think it's one thing if you're trying to score. I think it's another if you're using trick plays when you're up 40.
All right, so Hayes and Bro, we were taking notes, a couple of weeks ago when you were playing the role of Antonio Pierce and trick plays and trying to make it plus 12, plus 13, plus 14. And we promised ourselves privately, we said we're going to get these guys. And we were on the verge of doing that. We had another win last night. We're only -7. An immaculate weekend, I believe, is upon us. At worst, 6-2. And if that's the case, then we are truly chugging. And I already know how you're going to pick these games, but we can save the Monday nighter for Monday, right? So we'll pick 3 Saturday,
Of course.
3 Sunday, because the line may move. Eagles, Seahawks, we'll save that for Monday. But we have a 3-pack of games tomorrow. Timo and Willson on the clock for 2 of them. Vikings, Bengals. This line has actually come down. I think it opened 3.5 maybe on the Bengals, and now it's down to 2.5. Is that correct, Doogie? Is it still 2.5? It's up to 3. Okay, so there you go. The Bengals are laying 3. Bengals are laying 3 at home against the Vikings. Who do you like and why?
I love how you try to cheat me up another half a point there. That's impressive. But, well, this is the toughest game of the weekend. So when you talk about great picks, you talk about great moments, these are the moments that make us our record. Mm-hmm. See, the sucker would take the Cincinnati Bengals because they comb through the stats and have no feel for how these guys play, et cetera, et cetera. The savants take the Minnesota Vikings. Oof. And let me explain. Oof. We stroll in this thing, you're saying, oh, Nick Mullins. Well, let's look at the other side here. You've got Jake Browning, and yes, he's looked good. But even last week, are his stats a little inflated? Oh, he threw for 275. Let's not forget, shout out London's very own Chase Brown, making this guy look incredible on screen passes. 80 of those were from Chase Brown's screens. Next up, you're facing Brian Flores, the D coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, who leads the league in blitzing. He's going to have a barrage of blitzes coming at Jake Browning. Next up, the Vikings are very good at stopping the run. So I need Jake Browning to basically come out here with no run game, a blitz-happy defense, a very subpar offensive line, and dice this team up. Not happening. And now you can say Nick Mullins, but you know who's back? In my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL, Jefferson, should be back for the whole game. Nick Mullins will find him enough. They will have a run game because Cincinnati's defense is not good. And the next thing you know, the Vikings, at bare minimum cover, probably win this game en route to getting very close to securing a playoff spot.
I love being on the Bengals. Personally, Al's brother, I don't know how you feel about that, but I love the home squad here. I think the Vikings, look at what they're doing with the quarterback position. They have no idea who they should be leaning on. Jefferson's still banged up.
That's it. Like
Jamar Chase is going to prove that he's the man this weekend.
That's what I'm looking at. Is you're looking at those two guys, and like those two former LSU Tigers, they're going to want to put on an absolute show. And look, I like what we've seen out of Jake Browning.
Yes.
I really do. Like I'm not sure we're going to see out of Nick Mullins though. Like this guy's a play. This Vikings offense put up 3 points.
That's right.
Last week, 3 points. I don't know. Like this is a close one. I'll give you that. It's a tough game.
Tough game.
But we'll take a field goal.
Yeah, it's kind of a Raiders Chargers vibe, and we know what happened with the home squad.
No Brian O'Neill for Minnesota though. That'll be big. That'll be big. We'll see if they'll be able to stop Trey Hendrickson there. Oh, David Questenberry's a pretty big drop off there.
I'm kind of shocked by that pick from Luke. I'm going to be honest. Luke.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That's a little shocking.
Yeah. All right. Take the Vikings. Okay. Laying the points. All right, Steelers, Colts, Al's brother, tremendous information. Colts laying 1.5.
Yeah, like I am a Colts fan first and foremost, so there's a little biasism there. But it also means I watch this team. I watch this team on a weekly basis pretty closely, and what I've seen is an offensive wizard in Shane Steichen put together a pretty solid offense, which is really parsed together. Like Jonathan Taylor's been in and out of the lineup. They're getting production out of Zach Moss. Gardner Minshew has been this team's quarterback for all but 2.5 weeks, basically. Winning. And at home, they're averaging 26.5 points. I think that this is a good defensive team as well, and we know what Pittsburgh needs to do in order to put some points on the board. They got to establish a run. Big Grover Stewart is back. He's returned from his suspension. You put him along with DeForest Buckner along the defensive line. They're going to shut down that run game in Pittsburgh. They'll come out on top. They're the better team. They're at home. Better offense. Special teams has come up big, too, the last couple of weeks. I think they can win this game for sure. 1.5, it's a steal.
Tremendous information. You're claiming it's a steal, the Colts at home. I'm with you on this. I will say I am fearful of a Mike Tomlin coach team on a long week coming off losses against a team where they got to play up, right? They got to play up. Now, the Colts, though, are not like a great team. But I'm with you, man. I will take Minshew over Trubisky all day, especially at Lucas Oil. Lock it in. Lay in the 1.5. Colts.
Love it.
Hayes and Bro are chugging. All right.
Kara, let them know. Let them know about Mike Tomlin. Let them know about this team now being dumped on because of how poor they've played. And let them know how the Colts are complete trash, despite what Al's brother wants to claim about his favorite childhood team. Let him know.
Luke, you know you're my guy, but I got to be honest. I didn't like your first pick of the Vikings, and I kind of would take, even against my Steelers, I would take the Colts too.
There it is.
If I'm being honest.
Wow.
This is
Sorry, man.
This is the opposite of
I
Jonas.
got bad news for y'all. You're going to have to answer Twitter on Sunday night.
It's all good.
Just for the record, buddy, I'm with you. I would make the exact same picks you would make.
Yeah,
every single one of them.
And Frankie sewered Kara earlier today, so he's sewering you too with that one.
No, that was Doogie. Everyone knows.
I like that Kara's. This is positive energy. We had Jonas in here yesterday. Jonas was calling us pathetic losers.
You got someone who watches the game in detail on the Colts, someone who watches the game in detail on Pittsburgh, and we both are kind of seeing it the same way.
And my gut, which is very significant here,
it's the other 50%,
is saying Colts. All right, the nightcap tomorrow night. There's no way you're picking this right. There's no possibility of you getting this right. Broncos at Lions. Lions laying 4.5. Go ahead.
Let me put it this way, Hayes. If I was the Detroit Lions and I could pick one team in the NFL to play, it would be the Denver Broncos. I can't even believe the line is 4.5. We're taking the Lions, and if I had to pick 100 times, I would make the same pick.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. You look at what the Lions are good at, running the football, and you look at what the Broncos are bad at, stopping the run. I mean, they are a league worst by a mile, yards per carry, over 5 yards. You got to think Dan Campbell is going to be like, hey, you know what? We've struggled a bit offensively. Let's go back to our bread and butter. Here's the ball. Here's Dave Montgomery. Here's the best offensive line of football, pushing boys around. And on the flip side, what do the Broncos do or not do well offensively? They do not consistently throw the ball well, especially down the field. Efficiently, maybe. Consistently, absolutely not. Look at the total yards. So now you're sitting here thinking, hey, the Lions are jamming the ball down our throats. We can't stop them. we've got to start throwing the ball to catch up. We can't do that consistently. And this bad boy becomes a blowout. And it's in Detroit. I mean, I love this pick. I'm rock solid on it. Restore the roar,
no,
baby.
You're not.
Go Lions.
No, you're not. It's the Lions, man.
It's the gays, the Lions and Seahawks gays. He's got to pick the Lions or the Seahawks on Monday, too. That's going to be tough. I'll tell you why you're wrong here, Luke. I can't believe you made this decision
Dude,
again.
he started highlighting it.
Take a lap.
Well, he's going on talking about how the run game is going to have all this success. Best offensive line football, going against the worst rush team in the NFL. Luke, go and look at the injury report for Detroit. It's littered with offensive linemen. You've got banged up trenches. Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, both questionable for this game. They might not be able to play. That'll hurt them significantly. And over the last 3 games, Denver, they knew that they had a problem trying to stop the run. So what have they done? They've definitely narrowed in and tried to fix that. Last 3 games, 9th in the NFL against the run, averaging just 3.7. So your 5.1 stat means nothing. That was the 2-5 Denver Broncos. That's what that team was. This is the 7-6 Denver Broncos, and they're a very good football team. And they won't only cover; they're going to win this game, Luke. They're going to win this game.
Tremendous rebuttal. Tremendous.
Yeah, that's hilarious. You're going to quote their last 3 games. They played the Chargers last week. Great stat, buddy. That really counts.
But they also beat the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Packers in those 3.
Yeah, Kara's on the Hayes and Bro bandwagon.
I'm just listen. Recency bias is the Denver Broncos have figured something out, and they've been winning some games against big teams. The Lions lost to the Bears last week.
Yes.
Kara, I'm confused. You said in the last 3 games they played the Chiefs and the Broncos and the Packers.
No, over their win streak, over their last little, like they've won 3, 5, 6 out of the last 7. They beat the Packers, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bills, they beat the Vikings, they beat the Browns, they lost to the Texans and then the Chargers.
Even come close to running the football like Detroit. I'm disappointed, Kara, but you've attached yourself to a losing operation.
No,
who are thrilled to be -7 right now.
This is where you're wrong.
It's a big number, too.
This is where you're wrong, because those are all winning programs. Do you know who the biggest loser in the NFL is? The Detroit Lions.
Then. I'd like to propose a gamble. If you guys think that money line Denver Broncos, which is what your partner just said, let's make some bonus money on it. Let's make a bonus game on this thing. Make an offer.
We don't need it. We don't need it, and we're getting points.
You don't need
we don't need it because we're already moving towards being tied.
I'm going to tell you right now, do not come to me when you're down 11 this weekend asking for in-season tournaments or bonus bets. It's now or never, my guy.
I'm
now or never.
Dude, we're chugging, man. It's 28-18. Do you think Tom Brady was calling up Matt Ryan at halftime?
Absolutely.
Saying, let's find a way to concede here? No chance.
Boy,
TB12 came out chugging. All
right,
let's keep rocking here. All right, let's keep going. All right, here we go. The Sunday games, 1 o'clock window. Chiefs laying 8.5 at the Patriots. Al's brother, tremendous information.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are going to get dummied in this football game. There's no Ramondre Stevenson out there, so there's not much else they have offensively. And that defense, you get a lot of love right now, rightfully so. But you're going to tell me that Patrick Mahomes, after what has happened over the course of the last 2 weeks, and last week in particular, isn't taking it personally. He's going to go out there and he's going to throw for 300 yards. He's going to throw for 3-4 touchdowns. And this is going to be a blowout win. I see this game coming to similarly to the Cowboys-Patriots game earlier in the year. That was a 35-point blowout. I think we see something similar to that this week.
Yeah, my gut instinct says the same thing, Al's brother, that Mahomes was embarrassed. He embarrassed himself at the end of the game last week, and I think he rolls in here. He's never lost 3 in a row in the NFL. He's not going to lose this game. So do they cover the spread? All of a sudden, Bailey Zappi, he's not doing it twice. No. He did it last week. He will not do it twice.
In a half. He did it in one half.
He did it in one half. Bill Belichick has 1 foot out the door. I think the Chiefs roll in there and make a statement. I think they know they have to. I think they realize the division is on the line because Denver's going to beat Detroit the night before. So it's going to be a scenario here where Kansas City's in borderline must-win territory.
It's actually wild to think about.
Yeah.
That Denver,
if they beat the Lions, they're right on them.
Yeah.
And I kind of anticipate that happening. So I will be right beside you, Al's brother. We are laying the points. We're on the Chiefs.
Chiefs Kingdom, baby.
Yep. Chiefs Kingdom. Love it. Thanks.
Jeez, what they've won? They've won one of their last 4.
Yeah, they're due.
Yeah, they're going to come out and win by 10. You're right, guys. Let's go.
Okay, moving on here. Cowboys Bills. This is a tough game. Bills laying 1.5 at home. Timo and Willson on the clock. Who do you like and why?
Cowboys all day. Not a tough game. Probably the layup of the week.
Wow.
What have the Bills done? What have the Bills done? Absolutely nothing. Even last week, what did they do? They won. They
won and
20
covered.
Points. Yeah, won and covered against a team that's lost 3 of their last 4. And the Chiefs are not in the same category as the Dallas Cowboys right now. Especially when you think, what is the Bills' problem? Turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Quinn sitting over there, he's got this team ripping the ball away, picking the ball up. You've got the league his history leader and Deron Bland and pick sixes. Oh my God, this game might be 45-3.
Not on the
Bill's
road.
defense is crazy banged up too, Luke.
Oh, now you got Care on your
Cowboys
bandwagon.
all day.
No, listen.
Cowboys all day.
Not on the road, man. In Philly, in San Fran, this team hits the road. They can't play. They can't defend.
I disagree. I think this team's the new look Cowboys, and on top of that, I think you want to talk about a team who's looking at winning the division. Look at the Cowboys, and they know that the Eagles got to play my Seahawks, who are in a dire need of a win on Monday night.
Yeah.
I think they're sitting there thinking, "Yo, we got a shot here, boys."
All right. Yeah, listen, that's a tough game, man. It's a pick. It's borderline pick 'em for a reason.
And the line, the line moved. It's Cowboys 1.5 now. You're still locking that in?
Yeah, it's 1.5. Yep.
You can't trick me, man. And I will like to say that I did take a big loss yesterday because I realized what happened. Al's brother was actually picking the Chargers, and then he called me asking to finagle field, and I slipped up and said I would pick the Raiders. He then changed his pick and went online.
Al's
So I
brother.
will say that I won't do that again. If I have to negotiate off air, it's only with you, Hayes.
Okay. Al's brother, I refuse to believe that. I mean, there's no, I don't.
Nah, it's fake news. That's
Yeah,
Ronnie
that's-
Trump fake
that's
news.
erroneous.
That's what that is.
All right, let's get to the Sunday nighter here. This is Team Hayes and Bro on the clock, and we have a massive development. JP was a man of integrity, just got in my ear. This line has shifted. Ravens -3. No longer 3.5. Ravens -3.
That's convenient.
That's a half point towards Jacksonville. Hayes and Bro on the clock. Al's brother, tremendous information. Please.
I'm looking at it, and it is that. I can't believe it.
Lock it in?
We are 100% locking that. We're going to lock in at 3.5. So at 3, we'll definitely take it at 3. I'm floored that we're seeing some money come in on Jacksonville here. I'm not quite sure why that is the case. Like Baltimore, they're the better team flat out. They got a top 5 offense. They got a top 3 defense. The Jags, they're going in the wrong direction. This defense gave up 31 points to Joe Flacco last week, 34 points to Jake Browning a couple of weeks ago. And now they're going to be without Tyson Campbell, Andre Sisco, banged up secondary. That offensive line, they're banged up, bunch of question marks. But there, Trevor Lawrence has been hobbling around on that ankle.
Etienne's banged up.
Etienne questionable to play tonight
love
as
it.
well. Like, I don't see where the money's coming in on Jacksonville, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I will definitely lock that in the Ravens.
Tremendous
over the
information
Jags.
plus gut instinct equals TG. We will lock in the Ravens -3. There you go. You know we're going 3-0. I mean, I don't know what you guys are bringing to the table. I don't love your picks, Luke, but good luck, I guess.
Well, again, Hayes, we really only got to split 500. And we will probably do much better than that, but 500 takes us to win.
This is why these guys are
You and
losers.
Al's
He's
brother
going for
powered
500.
500. That's it. You're the Blue
Powered
Jackets
it
in the third.
over the last couple of weeks. That's killed the segment.
Yeah.
But what's unfortunate is after this weekend happens, and we had the Monday night, which, to be honest with your picks, I don't think will even matter. The only one you have a hope in is the Baltimore pick.
Yeah.
The problem now is you guys are going to come with your palms open asking for crumbs on Monday. And don't expect me to give them.
All right.
Do not expect me to give them. I
That's
offered you numerous times when we're back in the double digits this weekend, there will be no bartering. You will take your beat down. I would like to win the season by +20. That's my goal. I think it's doable. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Antonio Pierce, man. We're taking notes. We're taking notes. Kara, you're very impressed with Hazen, bro. Be honest.
I'm a little more impressed with your picks than I thought I would be. I'm a little disappointed in Luke. I'm going to be honest. I don't know that we always see eye to eye on Sundays.
Be careful. That's going to be quoted. I'm going to have JP, Joe, and Doogie quote all of this, and I'm just going to play it on Monday when I'm on live. I'll just point right in the studio. Play it again.
He's scared.
Okay.
We're in his head. That's
I love it.
We're in his head.
Al's brother, great seeing you. Hazen, bro, continues to chug. Luke, have a great weekend.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
There's Luke Willson. All right. What an experience. You ever think
That was something.
be in the middle of the
No.
most idiotic bit in
That was really something.
sports media in this country?
I knew he was bringing up that Denver stat. I
Yeah.
had that rebuttal ready to go.
It's
Ready to go.
You're like Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men.
Oh, I knew it was coming. Like, that's where you know your opponent. Like, we've gotten to a point where I got the scouting report on these guys. I know where they're going.
Yeah,
I knew that he was going to try and pull that play, and I blitzed him and I sacked him. That's right.
You're playing chess,
champ.
and they're playing checkers.
That was a
House
big
brother.
boy fumble 6.
That's right. Melden Friday brought to you by Boston Pizza's new square footer pizzas. BP is reinventing the wheel with our 3 new square footer pizzas. An entire square foot of more cheese, crunch, and taste. These new pizzas are an absolute must try at your local BP tonight. House brother, tremendous.
Thank you.
See you soon. Via chat tomorrow. Texting will be flying.
Oh, yeah.
All right, there's Al's brother. Dear Hayesy-B's coming up. Our best bets later in the hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, every day this week we have been announcing a current or former Maple Leaf player for our Leaf lineup of the week. Giving away tickets to see Leafs Rangers December 19th and throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card with each pair of tickets to make it the ultimate game night. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro-Canada. Today's player of the day, the final player of the week, is Brian Leach. Brian Leach. Phone lines are open, 416-870-1050. 416-870-1050. Brian Leach is your final player. Doogie is waiting by patiently. There you go. Leafs.
Insight, the ability to see and understand why you do the things you do.
Dear Hayesy-B.
We're going to go down there and have a donkey barbecue, and I'm going to furnish the ass, right?
You don't want to hide a Mars bar in your sleeping bag when there's a bear outside the tent.
All right, so Dear Hayesy-B is, it's become like a really big part of what we bring. We're here to help people, right? That's what we do. We help. And Kara, I think have you been supportive of our advice, or are you kind of against the general tone of our advice?
I sat in on a segment before. I think this is my second segment. I enjoy the segment immensely. I feel like sometimes you give bad information.
Okay.
Bad advice.
That's fine. We are not certified or qualified.
You're also
at
only
all.
seeing like one angle of
Yes.
the advice.
Right.
Now that
That's
is kind of
true.
be a fresh voice and opinion, maybe a voice of reason.
Sure.
In care.
I hope to be. Are we ready to
Yeah,
dive
do you
in
have
here?
them? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our first one is, now I don't play beer league hockey, so this is largely for you guys. I'll weigh in if I can here, but we got a Dear Hayesy-B. I'm running a beer league team. Everyone has to pay to play. Fees due today. Everyone except one guy, our top goal scorer, the best player. Every time I ask, he just changes the subject. Do I tell the boys to chip in an extra 20 to cover or give him the slice? Your best player
but
has
it's
not
also,
paid.
It's also beer league. This
Yes.
is why it's so absurd, the idea that there even is someone that's isolated as the best player in beer league. You have got to just be honest with the guy and say, you got to pay. Because as much as I would like to win a beer league game, I couldn't care less if I actually do. Personally, I haven't played beer league in a long time. And $20, not the end of the world. But I'm not paying an extra $20 so Gretzky can play with us.
No.
I mean, it's not necessary.
Glensky can.
Glensky.
This is what needs to happen. There needs to be an understanding between the guy who's organizing it and some of the other guys in the room. Maybe it's a group chat. And you say, listen, I'm going to get on, let's say the guy's name is Fitzy. I'm going to get on Fitzy today in the room about the $20. I'm going to need you guys to chime in a little bit, and let's get it going, right? Because I can't just do it one-on-one here. But in a group situation, all the guys in the room, everyone getting on his case, can't hide from it, can't change the subject.
Great point.
That's what you need to do in this situation.
And that's fair to the kind of convener here, the captain, the guy who's responsible for putting it all together. It's the worst spot to be in. It's like if you're the commissioner of a fantasy league.
It's,
and you gotta,
it's awful.
It's awful because you got to deal with everything. And there's so many people that aren't returning emails, aren't paying, aren't doing whatever. If it's a team event, and you're right, Frankie, you get multiple guys involved saying, hey, man, come on, snap out of it. He'll snap out of it.
Hey, Fitzy, you got that $20 yet? And all of a sudden you
you haven't paid yet, Fitzy?
Fitzy, what's
Come on,
up? You
Fitzy,
didn't pay?
smart
Come
enough.
on, man. Who do you know? Like that's
I like
what
that. You have to be direct. Don't dance around it. I
Right.
agree. You don't need to chip in and pay for this guy's way just because he's the best player. I think you need to be direct. I like what you're suggesting there. Either do it in the room or you send a very direct text message that is still diplomatic by saying, hey, just in case you were confused, here's the address, email address you can hit me up with the EMT.
I like that one too. It's like, hey, just so you know, here's the email address for e-transfer.
Yeah.
I like that one as
in
well.
case there's any confusion.
We got options.
Very nice.
You got
a
options.
lot of
That's
options,
good.
but the guy's got to pay in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Dear Hayesy-B and Doogie P. I didn't know Doogie was on these.
Doogie.
I followed in your footsteps and bought tickets to a Raptors game with a girl I met online, and she said she was very interested. We are both on break for the holidays, but she just texted me today that she has an outing with her friends that night instead. Didn't give a reason. I've only met her once. Do I give her one more chance?
No, this is Doogie 2.0. I also don't quite understand the idea that you've met online. Like, I understand it's a very modern term, like we met online, but you actually haven't met.
Mm-hmm.
You've exchanged,
Yes.
Emails or texts or DMs, but you haven't met. And what happened was, at some point, you did meet. Because if I'm reading this correctly, there was a connection online. Maybe your game was on point. She was vibing you, but then you met up, you got together, and it's very clear she was not feeling you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but once you met and you got together, and then the extension, like the invitation was extended, and she's like, sorry, I'm coming up with different plans. It's not India, man.
It's very simple.
Like, it's
very
just
simple.
Very simple.
I actually think he's backdoored himself into a great scenario here. She kind of did him a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine she's not into him, but she says, you know what? This guy invited me to the game. I'm still going to go. You don't have a great time, whatever. Then you kind of, you go your own ways after that.
Right.
That sucks. Now, she's not going to go with you. You call your best buddy, maybe a guy you haven't gone out with in a while, and it's like, you have some good times again, and it's like, we're going to meet up with some other buddies after the game, and you're going to floor it. And she just put you in a great situation to have a great, bros night out.
That's a good point. That getting ghosted is not always the worst.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's a passive-aggressive, I have other plans, which is never true. I mean, it can be, but usually that's like on an emergency basis. All of a sudden, you got plans with your friends. Come on, you would have known that beforehand. But that's, a passive-aggressive way of her basically saying, I'm not into it. Okay, if you're not into it, stop wasting time.
You have a really good date, and it's a really enticing date and a fun date to go on, like a Raptor game, and she still says no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Message
It's in the books.
sent and delivered.
Do we want to bring out the one that we were talking about earlier?
I can't believe we didn't start with this one, but I think I know where you're going
list.
here.
It wasn't on Doogie's list, so
we need to bring this one out.
I think we need to go to this one. Okay. This is weird. Dear Hayesy-B, our buddy's girlfriend, who he lives with, will periodically invite one of her guy friends over on Friday nights to watch a movie with her. Our buddy doesn't hang out with them and will typically watch sports by himself downstairs while his girlfriend is watching a movie with her guy friend upstairs. She has 2 different dudes she'll do this with. He doesn't seem to mind at all, but we think at least one of these guys has to be playing the quote-unquote long game. How do we broach the subject with our buddy? Do we try to intervene or do we let it ride?
Yikes, man.
This is one of the craziest things I've read in a long time.
Yeah, this is a wild scenario. Because I'm fascinated on both ends. The fact that he's like, all right, see you later, going down to watch the Leaf game. Like, that's kind of needs to be studied here too.
It's a big red flag.
There's bigger issues.
Yeah,
in this
like something's
relationship
going
at
on
work.
here where it's like, yeah, everyone okay up here? Popcorn, movies good, see ya. It's like it's almost like a parent leaving the room.
Right.
Long game, like if there's 2 guys that are in the rotation here, one of them has to be playing the
One
long
has
game.
to be.
One of them is like, but even that is wild that the guy's like, all right, I'll go play the long game, like with the boyfriend downstairs or in the house. Like, what kind of long game are you playing when the guy's like in and out of the room?
You might be already in the position to take over. I don't know, man. It's very strange. I have a lot of questions for these people as to why this arrangement currently exists.
Yeah, it's a wild one.
Why can't you, if you want to watch sports, okay, if you're the guy and you want to watch sports on a Friday night, you need to invest in like a laptop or an iPad and some AirPods.
Be present. Be
sit
around.
next to your girlfriend. She can watch whatever she wants to watch, but just do it on the watch sports on the iPad, man. Like, don't let. And he's inviting them over.
I don't know if that's the way it read.
So weird.
But here's the advice I would give to the friend. You got to stay out of it.
Yes.
I do think you got to stay out of it. Like, if your buddy's cool with it or whatever. Although I don't even know how you would get information on this unless maybe he's complaining about it. But I don't think you get involved.
No, I don't
No.
think he's complaining. I think it was like, hey, what'd you do Friday? Yeah, I invited
Downstairs,
so-and-so over
Joe
to
was
watch.
upstairs
Yeah.
mowing my lawn.
Because maybe there's something about the situation you're not privy to. You're mowing my lawn.
Potentially. Trying to. Anyway, long game.
And this guy's clearly very comfortable with these friends of his girlfriend. Look, as a female who has some very close male friends, you can drive an even bigger issue into the relationship by making it a big deal where if it's not a big deal between them. They seem to be clearly cool with it. Who cares what the guy friend's motivation is? If she's cool with it, if her boyfriend's cool with it, I think you just leave it alone.
I'm with
hands
you.
off.
I believe I agree with that on the outside. It's not your life; it's their life.
It's weird,
People are
but
free to make whatever choice they want to make.
Here's my advice for the guy. You don't make a big thing out of it, but you kind of ask him like, how does that work? Like
Curious.
You know, like go
Does
with
that
the
bother you?
curious.
A little
like,
bit curious.
What's up with that?
Where
Is
we
that
at here?
you guys all good there? Just like
Okay.
a curious friend checking in. I think that's the way you got to approach it.
I think that's reasonable.
It can't be like a hardcore intervention.
Right.
Just, that's
And there may
interesting. What do you
be
guys- what do you
very
guys got going
reasonable
on?
explanations
Yeah.
or whatever, or who knows what's going on in their personal
the
life.
weirdest part to me is not the boyfriend who has an issue that is emailing in about this. It's the guy's friend who
Right.
thinks it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Well, I think
There's
a
some
lot
red
of people
flags
would
there.
think it's weird.
Yeah, so a
Yeah.
lot of people are wondering what's going on there.
Yeah.
All right, do we have time for
I don't
another?
know. Do we have one? Do we have time for
Let's do
one?
one
A
quick
quick
more?
one. Do you have
Okay.
a rapid fire one?
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, have never been to a game in person. One of my friends won a raffle and got 2 seats to the Cowboys-Bills game Sunday. But I'm supposed to be at the Distillery Winter Village with my wife downtown. My wife is busy the next few Sundays with work, and it would be the only opportunity. How do I handle this?
You just.
I got this. I got
Go
this
ahead.
one, guys.
You go. This is why you are professional.
This is a very big, you got to take the tickets. So what you need to do is you need to be the thoughtful boyfriend or husband, it's the wife, and set up the day for her. Here's the deal, honey. If you're okay with it, so-and-so got us tickets to the game. I really like to go, but what I would like to do for you is I've made reservations for you and your 3 friends at Clooney Bistro down at the Distillery. You guys are going to go enjoy a nice dinner. I've already put the credit card number down. It's taken care of. I've gotten you guys an Uber. It is taken care of. You don't have to worry about a thing. Go down and enjoy the day with your girls.
That is why Kara is very needed in segments like this.
If that was presented to you, you'd be like, all good. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be like, go. Well, first of all, I'd be like, I want to go to the game. But go and have a good, if tickets, we have an understanding in my marriage, if tickets come out to a professional sporting event, especially if they're free, carte blanche, go. We will
Right.
figure it out.
Okay.
The other person will cover.
Exactly. And guess what? There's going to be Christmases in the future and winter wonderlands in the
Yeah.
future. I mean,
That's
come
sound
on.
advice. That's very good advice.
Right. That's
You
exactly
got to
it.
go
You plan
above
it.
and beyond to make up for it.
And go have a great time. I'm going to have a great time. I think you can kill 2 birds with
Yeah.
one stone
Yeah.
there. Everyone
It can
be
be done.
happy.
You get some brownie points there as well.
Everyone can be happy.
Yeah.
I love it. Dear Hayesy-B. Dear Doogie P.
Yeah,
Dear Frankie
Doogie made
C.
a weird face there during the Raptors tickets one.
I think it's him, man.
I was
I-
wondering if it was him because he was like, he had like the mouth open like he couldn't believe
Yeah.
it.
Doogie, he just keeps reinserting himself into the same thing.
You're selling him down the river right now.
telling
He's
us
giving
the
the
rap
no.
right now. No, he's telling us the rap. We're done here.
I think Doogie's a hot commodity online.
I think so.
I think his game online
Is Doogie taken?
electric.
Doogie, are you single? Is this a new segment we need to come up with?
Currently single,
Oh.
Vibe is out.
but I've got
Doogie's-
ghosted.
Yeah,
You got ghosted?
Oh.
That,
Yeah.
that happens to the best of us, Doogie.
Are you the guy that had the Raptors ticket?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Well, previously. But
The
people are
original
taking
one.
sound advice and buying Raptors tickets and getting ghosted as well. So we're all in the same boat here.
Did you invite your buddy and just like go out and have a good time?
Yes, sir. Had a good time.
Not a
There you
boy.
go.
Good for
See,
you.
It all worked out well for Doogie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doogie, that happened a few weeks ago. Doogie, he inserted himself in without anonymously. We didn't know it was him.
Oh, no.
And then we gave very blunt advice saying, she's not into you, dude. Like,
And you
just-
wonder why he's crying behind the glass.
And then he came in after. He's like, that was actually me. I'm like, okay, Doogie.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry to hear that. All right. Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right. Today's Best Bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I hate to do this. Lions, I'm going to lay 4.5.
Oh, that's
I know.
So gutless.
Luke is on the Lions, but I kind of think it's a good bet. Like they've lost 2 of 3, but I still think they're a pretty good team. They're at home.
You're a good team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to get it. I like the Rams. They got Washington at home. The Rams have been really good.
Yeah.
They could have beat Baltimore last week. They've been really clean. They don't turn the ball over. They're getting healthy. Washington's awful. It'll lay 6.5, but I like the Rams big. I'm going to take the Browns. Joe Flacco. Magic continues.
It's still really weird to see Joe Flacco in a Browns uniform.
Really strange. But there's your parlay for the week. I like all those 3 games on the spread. Today's best bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays this NFL season now include passing touchdowns and receptions on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. Must be 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. So there you go. It's been a fun week. And we got the Leafs in action.
Week.
Yeah, it has been. And now you got the Raps tonight, Leafs tomorrow. You got 3 games in the NFL tomorrow.
Yeah, busy weekend in the NFL.
Tiger and Charlie this weekend.
Oh, so fun to watch them.
Tiger's walking nice.
He looks great.
Oh, man.
Like watching live coverage of them walking onto the course is just wild.
I love every time they do the split screen and they do like their mannerisms. So I just love that stuff. I'll watch videos of that all day.
I'm in. I'll be watching 100%. All right, guys. Great seeing you as always. Thank you for doing this.
Great to be in here.
Kara Wagland, great seeing you. Frankie Corrado, awesome seeing you as well. Everyone behind the scenes, we appreciate all the help.
Great job, Doogie.
Doogie and JP.
Really good.
Doogie, just okay.
Joe from the bridge. Maybe next time give the guys a shout out, right? When you guys are late for getting back on a segment. But we love Joe from the bridge. All right, we're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Monday at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.